9:14.
One thing before workshop. What I didn't say earlier, and I'm very sorry I didn't, I want to commend our road district. It snowed that one time hard snow, and then we had the sleet. And you guys had everything set within 3 hours, 4 hours, and it didn't come back again. And going through other Chimney Park, Portland Park, Lockport, everything still was slipping and sliding. So I'm extremely proud of what you guys did, and I thank you very much.
And I want to echo that same sentiment. Thank you very much for taking care of our roads. That beet juice in that salt does do a great job. And Matt took and handled making sure we had our salt available for this type of occasion, and I think it worked out very well. I agree with you, Mayor. They did a fantastic job. Thank you, guys.
Okay, floor is yours.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, if I could just do a brief introduction. I know I'm very excited to get to it, but I just wanted to kind of put some context around it. I know this is the second time that we've seen a similar proposal at this site in the last few months, but sorry, I've got both of these things going here. So just background concept reviews, we've done a few over the last couple meetings. It's just a way for developers to come forward and bring their ideas, their concept to the village board to get some feedback before they decide to move forward with the formal application process. So this is a way for the developer to get some feedback and also for us to inform some residents and get some feedback before money is invested by the developer on detailed plans and everything like that. So there will be no final action tonight. I just want to make that clear. This is just preliminary feedback. If the developer does plan to move forward, there will need to be a formal application. We'll need to go through the plan commission process with formal noticing of residents and everything like that. So this is the first step of a potentially very long process depending on how the developer wants to proceed. So ILM Homes brought forward a proposal back in the September meeting. You may remember that we had a committee of the whole meeting before the village board meeting. And based on some of the feedback, the team had some revisions. That is what is being presented tonight. And just some other background, we did notify the Glenview Walk HOA. I know there's some residents in the audience and on Zoom that are here to voice their opinions on the project. We've also asked the schools, we heard from them earlier tonight, and also some of the other taxing bodies. And then it's come up a little bit, the Fitment Creek Sanitary Sewer Extension along Cedar Road is a budgeted project that we have that is eligible for the ARPA money that we discussed that helps enable development along 159th Street, even more so than that first leg, Mr. Mayor, that you referenced that kind of enabled the fact that Lenny's Gas and Wash was able to go. So that's another piece to this puzzle, but tonight's goal really is to get feedback on the concept that ILM Homes has brought forward. So we staff put together a list of questions for the board to consider and that we're kind of looking for answers from board members tonight. And I think Moses can touch on other questions that he may have. So generally, is there support from the village board for an attached single family home project at this site, the townhomes and duplexes that will be described in a few minutes? The commercial frontage, that was a topic of discussion back in September. We want to see what the board's tolerance is for that depth on our major corridor. And then also we want to get some feedback on what the expectations are for the architectural design and exterior materials. We know that's very important to the board and residents. And also just kind of general questions if there's any concerns that don't come up or if there's any potential revisions or things that you may want to see to the project, and we can kind of work that through with the developer. So with that, I'll hand it over to...
Thank you. Thank you once again. So because it's late and you're tired, I'm going to be as short and as brief as I can be. But at the same time, I will be addressing some of the issues that I thought in September were of the utmost concern for you, and I am going to try to answer as many questions as I can tonight from you, the schools, and the neighbors. If you please can look at the site plans that you have in front of you, I hope you have both, the one from September and the one from tonight. Two concerns I heard in September. One was that the amount of commercial was not adequate, and also, more importantly, the depth of the commercial was not adequate. The other concern that I heard is that there were a row of townhouses, a total of 32 units, that were abutting the commercial, and you thought that that was inappropriate, that if allowed, it would generate a lot of issues in the future. The other concern you had was that there was no buffer, therefore, between those townhouses and the boundary between the residential and the commercial. So with all that in mind, we changed the site plan. We got rid of those 32 units that were abutting the commercial, and we expanded the depth of the commercial from an average of 320 feet or so to about 450 feet. I don't have 600. I can't do 600. But I hope that what I have shown to you, what I'm showing to you tonight, you will consider it as a fair compromise. There are many issues with the commercial. You and I may have differences, but that will allow us a healthy discussion, I guess. I don't expect the commercial to be viable for many years, and this is why I cannot do more than what you show, what you see or this, in your computer screens. The site plan dated November 19th of last year. What we have now is a total of 186 units consisting of 26 duplexes and 160 townhouses grouped in buildings of 3 and 4 units. All of the duplexes, and I think that was a critical issue, the way staff had explained it to me. Every single one of the duplexes will have the ability to have a primary bedroom on the ground floor, and then we will offer with it 2 bedrooms or 1 bedroom on the second floor. There will be no so-called ranches. Many of the end units of the townhouses will also have that ability of having the primary bedroom on the ground floor. But I would like to make it very clear so that we don't have any misunderstandings, that I will offer those floor plans, but I will not restrict the community or any portion of it to 55 plus. I just want the village to know I will offer those floor plans, and I will let the market decide what they want to purchase. I'd like to move now to some of the questions or issues raised by the school districts and the neighbors, unless you would like me to answer some of your questions first. Your choice. Should I move forward, or should I wait for your questions?
I guess I had one question.
Sure,
so for the commercial parcels, what, who is your ideal market for those commercial parcels?
That is, my ideal market will be a restaurant maybe, maybe a grocery store, but I am not an expert in commercial. I know a lot about residential, but very little about commercial. So, and staff might tell you that at the very beginning, I was opposed to commercial altogether. I was going to leave a token of 2 acres, but staff reminded me how important it is for this corridor to have a significant amount of commercial. In all honesty, trustee, I cannot tell you who will come to this approximately 10 acres of commercial. I will own the property. I will try to market it the best I can. I will pay the taxes every year, the insurance every year, and I will try to market it as soon as I can, because the sooner I market it, the sooner I sell it, or the sooner I develop it, the better it is for you and for me.
So I guess where I was going with this, when I meant your ideal market that you're going for, I'm assuming these are going to be vanilla boxes. Anything that you put in there, you're going to have to construct from the ground up.
Yes.
Which leads me to my next question. Is this going to be, and I guess you just clarified that, but office space, professional space, restaurant space? Is it open to anything?
It will be open to anything.
Gotcha.
Now,
Okay.
I understand that the best thing for you is retail that generates sales taxes. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Those pay percentage rent, so that will be even better for me as well. But I cannot tell you what the future will bring to these 10 acres.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Do you currently own the property right now?
No. No.
Okay. And if you are allowed to build on that property, if you don't mind me asking, who would be financing the project? Would it be your company, or would it be a bank? Would it be the government?
No, it would be in no likelihood a bank.
Pardon me?
It will be in no likelihood a private bank, and we raise capital through friends and family
Okay.
for the equity portion.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Obviously, there's a big concern with the residents that live nearby. They've got commercial space in the front of their property
Right.
over there also. Not really being able to predict what will end up there. Obviously, anything at this point that would be commercial and fit into that, the way it's zoned, would be able to build in there. I'm not a builder, but for yourself, is there a reason that you are shying away from building houses that would be compatible to the neighbor to the east? And the way I understand it, the way our planning commission had set things up before was you would have your 600 feet. You'd also you could have a row of townhouses as a buffer, and then beyond that, those townhouses, you could have the regular houses. Well, so it would be kind of a blend of that first row or that southern portion being townhouses, and then to the north of that and everywhere else, you would put houses in similar to your neighbors and kind of make everybody happy. And I'm not a builder, so I'm just wondering why you would shy away from
I
that.
will give you a very straight answer. But let me ask a question. For how long has Glenview Walk been on the market and they haven't sold all of the lots? Because I'm not familiar with it. Probably for many years, right?
Could you
Yes.
say that again?
For how long, when did the home builder begin to build Glenview Walk? Do you remember?
I don't know the exact date, but I mean, there's plenty of people here that could answer
Okay,
how
but-
many empty houses there. I don't believe there's anything that hasn't sold there, right?
Melissa could answer.
I don't know the exact date, but I know that it was about 2004, 2005 was when it was approved. Yeah.
The point I'm trying to make is that is not the market I target. There is a saying in my business, eat the land before the land eats you. And if I were to build on 40 acres, if I took, say, 10 acres for townhouses and 30 acres for that kind of house, I would have probably 80, 70, call them 70 single-family homes on lots of that size, homes of that size, homes of that quality. I would probably sell one a month, if that many. And that will kill me. And I cannot afford to kill myself, financially speaking. So that is the reason why. My market, I am a middle market home builder. And when I met with the village, for some reason, I had the understanding that the village is looking for new blood, a younger crowd, the younger couple that is beginning in their professional careers, and they're starting a family, and they are starting in the progress to a better financial level someday soon. I was also told that the village would like to see some homes so that the senior citizens or retirees or empty nesters from the village can have a place to move into within the village. So that's why I'm offering, and I thought it became a very important part of the overall policy, is to offer a place where empty nesters could buy a home with a primary bedroom on the ground floor. Now, maybe I expanded too much on this, but the bottom line is that is not my market. I will not build those homes. I don't want to sit here and tell you a beautiful story, but that is not my market. Again, I will sell maybe one house a month, and that will be a problem, because what we like in our industry is what we call sales velocity, absorption rate.
And your projected sale time for the subdivision that would be there with all these homes would be about what?
About 3.5, 4 years.
3.5, 4 years.
So, we're looking at about 40 homes a year. I mean, 40 homes of sales. I have to make a distinction. There is one issue that is how fast can I sell? Then there's another issue, when can I deliver those? There's going to be a span of time between 4 or 6 months between the actual sale of a home and the actual delivery of that home. Now, nowadays, because of the supply issues, that's another story, but I expect that if we move forward, by the time I get approvals and we do we complete the site work, all that will have quieted down, I'm sorry.
Do you have any comparables in nearby suburbs of homes comparable to this that come in at the price that you are stating that you can get for them?
No, to be honest with you.
Well, I think if you look at Gallagher and Henry, Kingston Hills, it's pretty comparable.
For feedback on the elevations, I prefer this one.
Okay.
Quick question. So this area that you're proposing, obviously well, maybe not, who knows, but you've looked at other areas in the village?
No.
Other locations?
No.
That was kind of your...
No,
you zeroed in on?
actually, quite frankly, I have been looking for a very long time at Lockport. We looked at a property called Lockport Square for a long time, and it's going to remain commercial, even though it hasn't been reaching its objectives for 15 years or so. And then we were looking at other properties in Lockport without success, and this property came up, and I liked it a lot more than anything else that I had seen in the adjoining village. It's just a great property.
This had a follow-up question. I'm sorry. Mine's really quick. So after you saw that property, that was when? Has that been a while?
This property?
That-
God, about a year and a half ago.
I'm sorry?
This property?
Yes.
About a year and a half ago
About a
is
year and a
when
half.
we started discussions with Mr. Lucasio.
Okay. Have you looked at any other of our inventory
No.
since then?
No. I like the fact that this property is about 2 miles east of the highway, east of I-355, with a 4-way access. That is very important to me.
There's actually one property that I know of, right on near the highway, the Boot property. Melissa, is that something, I mean, I'm just throwing this out there, I don't know if I could say this or not, but is that something maybe this could kind of fit in that area? Because I know she's selling that's for sale.
There is a big difference in the topography.
Oh, is that a property on Cougar and?
Yeah.
I looked at it. The topography is horrendous. To put it mildly.
All right. Hey, just check it. It doesn't hurt to ask, right?
Well,
Thank you.
I just wanted to let you, just as if this is any consolation to you, I own a restaurant in Homer Glen, and I have a captive audience, 7 days a week there. And one of the things that I'm hearing from the residents, whether it be the seniors or people that are looking for empty nesters, and they want to stay in their community, and they're looking for something that's affordable. Now, I know I commend you that you actually redesigned these, and you brought down the density. I mean, I think the plan works really well for the area, because I think it's something that's really needed. But we have a lot of people that want to stay in this community and have nowhere to go. And I just think that it would be a good fit for the village, because we do have, I have so many people that are trying to sell their big homes, and they have nowhere to go.
Madam Trustee, I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah, I just wanted to let you know that we do hear that as well.
Yes.
The HOA fees will average about what?
Between 200 and 250 a month.
And so, I mean, a lot of times, and the reason I ask is because we say, well, townhouses and providing for seniors to reduce their expenses. It really, depending on what size of house that they're selling to go into this unit, the cost savings between the taxes that will be on a brand-new house and the HOA fees makes it a little bit a harder argument, I think, these days, because it's not a whole lot of savings for a senior.
Yeah,
But that has nothing to do with your plan. I also like picture number 2. I like that design, like Trustee Rogers had said. I do like that design, number 2.
Dairy farmhouse.
I do see a lot of builders going with this. The big drive is for the white garage door. And for me, if I was just to say one thing, that whole thing with the white garage door everywhere you go kind of thing, if there was something that maybe could accent the beauty of the rest of the building that would be your garage door, might help a little bit.
Mr. Trustee, I leave those things, I absolutely hear you loud and clear. And these pictures that you see are just schematics put back real quick, way back when. I wanted to come here with new architectural design, but COVID got ahead of us, Omicron got ahead of us. The grandmother of the architect, unfortunately, went into a coma, and I couldn't get anything done on time for this meeting. The pictures you have in front of you are just an idea. I know that they don't meet the masonry requirements, but we can work that with staff once we get into the nitty-gritty of the design, hopefully, if we move forward with this project.
Have you worked out with the fire department? I know there were some concerns, George, the last time when we talked about the fire trucks being able to turn around in there and the plows being able to turn around. Has that been?
No, this is just a preliminary design. It's just for you to see if you like it, if you want me to
move forward.
Eventually, you know, we're going to hire a civil engineer. We're going to do, if the members of the fire department are here, we're going to do an auto turn for each mysterious or doubtful corner. Make sure that your largest fire engine can move in and out without having to back out more than.
Yeah, I think there was a concern also with the snow, where if they did plow, where would they put the snow? Yeah.
All of those things.
Yeah.
This is just a concept plan. You know, in order to do a site plan, I have to hire a surveyor, do a topographic survey, do all of that, and then do a site plan, and we will account for all those things.
Okay.
And as long as we're talking about the site plan, if I may, and I want to address one of the concerns from the high school district, that road that goes into the future high school's property, that was the oversight of the land planner, but eventually it is my oversight. We will not go through. We're going to put a cul-de-sac or a hammerhead, and we'll stop right there.
I noticed that you've increased what was the commercial space was what, 350 feet the last time?
Used to be 300 or 325, now it's about an average of 450.
Or 50, yeah.
So Janie and Melissa, I guess what you're looking for us is to say either tell them to go ahead and spend the money to work on this, to move forward with something that's similar to this, or this is something that the trustees don't want to see in the village at all. That's what you're looking to leave from here tonight.
Because at this stage,
Do you want to hear Jamie?
there's a significant investment for a developer to move forward. It's not, nowadays with the ways it costs to do development and to get to the finish line and to work with a community to make sure that all of the concerns and it fits the character and so on and so forth. It takes time and money to do all of that. You don't want to have a surprise at the end of the process. So this is that high-level point where is attached single-family product good? Do you like the depth? is that acceptable for the commercial? And do you have any expectations for the architectural design and the materials that you can give feedback to this developer right now, so that when he leaves this meeting, he has a strong feeling that he can work with Homer Glen, if he invests that money, that the process will work itself through to the end and be a development that can actually happen on the ground. You don't want to invest all that money and then get surprised at the end. That's bad form for any community to lead a developer on that way. If there's something really that is a big red flag, or cannot deal with, or we need to make sure that we handle this in the process, those points are really good for a developer and for staff to hear. We need direction to know what you're looking for.
Janie, I'd like to just ask a question. Just to the east of there, the commercial property, they've maintained the 600 feet, correct?
It's actually
The
not
east?
it's an irregular.
It's not, that one shows it, the aerial shows it.
Here, look at,
No, I looked at it.
Yeah.
The footage, though, is what I'm concerned about.
Right.
it's nowhere near it.
It's an irregular shape.
It's an irregular shape, but as far as I remember, we've stuck to the 600 feet for the most part in the past, right?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a variation along.
Yeah, I don't think that's
159.
600 feet. That's not a 600-foot setback.
No.
Definitely not. I mean, I think if you think, Dan, this is 450, and the entrance at Pillar
Yeah.
would be much less than that, and that's, if you can see there, it may meet 600 over on the east side, but the
No way.
average is probably about the same.
And if you go up and down the corridor, there are different depths to the actual commercially zoned properties that are there. I mean, we just measured one property.
And the reason I'm asking is just so we stay consistent with what we're allowing, especially in that one particular area. So.
And just for the record, this is not a government-funded project.
Not at all.
Okay, thank you.
And I will not ask you for assistance either.
Yeah, I think it's important to say that this is so preliminary. People will try to hold you to it. But the one thing that's always, I know it's important to me, no matter how far we get, is the architectural standards. The first floor brick to me is a must, because you're butting up to homes that are all brick. So to try to do one of the other two wouldn't really be acceptable to me. That's why I like the dark brown one, because it has that first floor brick that wraps all the way around it.
Okay.
All the way around to the back, because again, the people who are behind there are going to be looking at that, and those are what we required for them, so we should require that for this. The one that has siding all along the side, I wouldn't, personally, that wouldn't be acceptable to me, and the other two wouldn't either, because they're not first floor brick. So that is something that, I would hold true to throughout the project, should it move forward.
Okay. Understood. George?
What's the question, sir? See, this is preliminary. This young lady says, if you give the go-ahead now, he's going to sink a ton of money into this with the expectation that it's going to sail through. Without any public discussion, I think you should be, when you have it, if you go to come and discuss it with you, their concerns, rather than saying, oh yeah, okay, and you spend your money, and then he expects it's a done deal.
Yeah, I think a perfect example is there's another project that's being proposed on 151st Street, and we had a workshop and we had a committee of the whole, and then now next week the developer will meet with just the neighbors. It still has to go to planning committee. There's probably at least 4 or 5 more meetings on this before it even comes to a vote, at a minimum, because we still, like I said, have. It has to go, he probably has 6 months to a year's worth of drawings to do.
You know, so this isn't something that sails right through. The drawings and the process and the engineering and looking at all that, and then bringing it back again, and it takes a long time.
Mayor Yukich, if I may, we are intending on letting the public comment, they held off before, right? So we are still going to have public comment available during this workshop, right?
Yeah, if they want to,
Okay.
talk about something, that's fine. All we're trying to do right now is figure out what do you like about what he's showing you, to see if you want it all brick, if you want it frickin', I'm not sure if it's driveway or wood on the top.
I think it was cement board. I think he talked about it.
Hardy board?
Hardy board, yeah, I think he talked about it the last time.
I just don't want us to skip public comment portion. That's a very important part of this process.
Yeah.
No, I want them to come up and
Yeah.
talk about it. And the same thing with commercial.
I think maybe the gentleman there was thinking that he wasn't going to get the opportunity to speak, and I just want to make sure that you will.
No.
He's going to spend a ton of money, right?
Sure.
Okay, so why should he take money out of his pocket to hire everybody he needs to hire, and then in public comment, we shoot it down? It does. It sounds like a fair deal.
Can I clarify an issue? Can I clarify an issue? As the trustee said, this is going to be a lengthy process. All I'm looking tonight is for an act of good faith from you to me and from me to you, that this is something that you do not abhor. This is something you would consider. Beyond that, there is no reason for you to spend all this time, because once we apply, there are going to be lengthy discussions, 2-3 hours every time I come in front of you. There's no reason for you to spend that time and that effort. There's no reason for me to spend all that capital and my time as well. All I'm looking is for a consensus. Will I force these elevations? Absolutely not. Will I put that road to go through the high school property? Of course not. And at the same time, I want to address, if I may at this point, some of the issues that have come up in the past and are coming up tonight, because staff was nice enough to send me some comments. I think they were from the chairman or the president of the HOA of Glenview Walk. May I address some of those issues? Or would you like me to answer those questions when the public make their comments?
Well, I mean, you understand that this is a conceptual approval. There's no commitment on behalf of the village to approve anything.
Absolutely.
And I assume that you'll invest your money incrementally as the process
That is correct.
goes on, so that you're not going to go out and design and plan everything.
No.
Spend all the money today. It'll be an incremental process.
No.
With feedback from the village.
Matt, the HOA president, is he on Zoom? I thought he was going to.
Yes, he is. We have about a dozen residents on Zoom.
I'm sorry?
We have about a dozen residents on Zoom.
And so they have the ability to speak, or?
At that time, I can make sure that they raise their hand digitally, and we can start that, if that's what we want to start with, public comment.
I guess between Janie and Melissa, though, I mean, as far as your input as to, okay, the property's vacant. Someday something's going to be built there if this project doesn't get accepted. What, have we had anybody else looking over that way to complete a project of any kind that would be more suitable? Because, I mean, open space is not, somebody commented about open space, and we're all here for open space, but at one time, where their houses are, that was open space at one time to somebody else. And I struggle with that whole thing, because we are all about open space and to make things fit correctly for the community. On the other hand, what else would go, I mean, for your guys' input as to what else could end up there if something like this doesn't go there, I mean, what are we up against if something like this would not be looked at as an opportunity?
So first of all, the property owner of this site clearly wants to market the property for sale and has had it on the market for sale for some time. And there have been other home builders that have looked at the site, but actually gave it a pass based on various barriers to residential development in our codes right now. The staff has worked with this developer to mold and massage what he originally was proposing here to a point where we felt like this was something that the board might want to take a look at and consider, because it accomplishes mixed use. We have a lot of very large sites on 159th Street. We have very little development really west of Parker Road. There's not much going on. There's individual developments, but there's not a lot of density out there. There's not a lot of housing along the corridor. And the village's goal to have 159th Street be an economic engine for the community in the future is going to rely on being able to grow. And we're looking for balanced growth. That's the guidance we've been given so far. We're looking to accomplish that because we have large sites. The mixed use concept is the vehicle that can bring that to you. So if it preserves the frontage for commercial development, which is what we're hearing from the board, and it also provides rooftops that help diversify the housing stock in the community and add to the interest that businesses would have to come here because there's more density. So it seems that a mixed-use project along our larger sites along 159th Street is the way to accomplish our longer-term strategic goals for the corridor. So IML Homes has brought this mixed-use project and has now revised it, listening to feedback from the September meeting that we had here. And it's an opportunity to actually get something going on 159th Street that then could hopefully bring more return to the village and attract more development. And again, it has to be done through a very public process. It has to be done with the negotiations of the give and the take through that process. And it has to be done within the community's comfort zone for balanced growth and staying within the character of the community. But we do have a housing stock here that is primarily single-family detached. There is, it was already mentioned tonight, there's little opportunity for empty nesters to downsize, for younger families to come in. And to be a sustainable community over time, you want your community to grow. You don't want to say it stays static. We have hundreds of acres on 159th Street. We have that opportunity. This is very exciting for Homer Glen in terms of trying to shape our future. It's big decisions. These are tough decisions to make, but we do have an opportunity with a property owner that wants to sell, with a developer who has been working with us for some time, and now the staff has felt that this is a proposal that deserves the opportunity to get your feedback and see if the board would like to engage if the developer begins to incrementally spend money and come back with a more defined proposal for how this could work.
So what I'm hearing...
I also wanted to just add that just for the public's comments with marketing, I know that we've had a lot of comments about potential impact of property values, and the package that gets submitted for Plan Commission, if that comes to fruition, is very robust. And Moses will be doing market studies. That's part of what's required for those submittals, and I think that we'll see through that what potential impact. And I think those things get analyzed at the public hearing level. So just a reminder to the public that it's not over just because we're talking here tonight. Sorry to interrupt you, Dan.
And just one other point I'd like to make too is that those prior, the interest that we've had from other residential developers in the past, they were never bringing in a commercial component into their proposal. It was going to be 100% housing all the way up to the frontage. And, you know, we've made the point because it's been very clear to staff that the frontage is something that the village board wants to make sure goes to commercial use. So I think we do have an opportunity here with this developer.
I'd like to speak, if that's okay. I wasn't able to attend the committee of the whole in September, but my concerns were, and they still are, density. And when you're talking about not being able to guarantee the prices on the homes, the homework I had done in September, but then wasn't able to attend, you know, you're talking about homes, and you have to evaluate the situation to be fair, because that subdivision homes were going for $699 to almost $1 million. And that was this year, or this past year. And taxes that these residents are paying are over $20,000. So their concerns and negotiations have to be taken into consideration on this, because if it doesn't complement that subdivision that butts up right against it, these are tax-paying residents and they pay a lot of money. That's our revenue. That's how we survive. I mean, I know we have to build. I get this. I know we need more rooftops. But there has to be a very careful balance here. And so I would like to see a little bit more consideration. I think number 2 is a beautiful design. I would like it possibly if you could look a little further away from that subdivision. Because like I said, you're talking about property taxes here. I do love the idea of the commercial frontage. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's very appealing to me, but I just don't know if I feel comfortable with this right now.
Okay, so if I may ask you, Trustee, mm-hmm. Your concern is that, which is apparently the same concern, one of the more important concerns from the neighbors of Glenview Walk, your concern is that if we start selling these townhouses, what we call the opening price is $320,000 or so for bare bones unit. For a bare bones unit, then buyers will start adding options and upgrades, and there will be a charge of $8,000 or more for location premiums. So I would say that on the average, and this is just an opinion, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but on the average, the sales prices of these units will be about $360,000. It is still far below what Glenview Walk is selling for. But let me point out to you, there is.
You got to open up the thing for the people on Zoom.
Well,
wait.
We could just.
Can I finish what I?
Yes, you can finish up, but I'd like some of the people to comment so at least you know exactly what they are.
Okay, but this comment, Mr. Mayor, has been made many times in the past in the written email that it was sent to me, and the trustee has raised it again. All I want to say is going to take me 2 minutes, if I may. Thank you. There is no reason to think that a subdivision of townhomes selling for an average of $360,000 is going to decrease the value of the Glenview Walk townhouse single-family homes, because on the average, the center of the property that I intend to develop, if approved, is about 2.5 football stadiums away from the center of Glenview Walk. There is no way in the world that it will impact negatively the value of Glenview Walk. Furthermore, if anybody calls an appraiser because they're selling their home and the buyer needs an appraiser, their lender needs an appraiser, or because the homeowner needs to prepare an appraiser to prepare a financial statement, or for whatever reason, the appraiser is going to come in, he's not even going to look at these townhouses because it is a far different product and it is far away. They are going to be looking essentially at comparable sales within Glenview Walk. And if they don't find enough comparable sales, they are going to go to other developments within Homer Glen of a similar quality and price. If any real estate appraiser starts using the townhouses as a comparable to bring down their value, they need their license revoked, quite frankly. let's talk about resales of those homes, of Glenview Walk. My buyers are likely going to be the same type of buyer that the current residents at Glenview Walk were 25 or 30 years ago. Eventually, the current buyers, of course, moved into Glenview Walk, but started at a much lower level because they began when they started in life. It is very likely that as my buyers, the future homeowners, make progress in life, they will want to move to a better home. And they will be natural buyers to stay in the village, to stay in the school district of those homes. So I would say that to some extent, this development is going to increase the saleability of Glenview Walk and all the other, higher price developments in the village nearby. We are, again, like 2.5 football stadiums away. At the closest point, I don't want to look at my notes and waste your time, but at the closest point from the back of a duplex to the back of a single-family home, it's about 300 feet. And then it grows from there to 400 feet and more. So I don't think that we are going to devalue the houses. I've never seen in my entire career of 45 years, I have never seen that a development like this is going to impact negatively the values of a development like Glenview Walk.
What I would like to say from everything that I've heard tonight, and the concerns of the homeowners to the east is a valid concern, and the cost of those houses. But I'd like everybody to think, okay, right now we know what we'll be getting. We know what it'll look like. In the future, if this doesn't go through, I mean, I'm very happy you reduced the density. I think you did a good job with that. But if this isn't if you're not, we don't let you go forward with this, or we decide that this doesn't fit, I have a concern of wondering what would end up over there. With your project, at least we know what's going in. In the future, we don't know what could end up there. So I just want to put that out there for everybody that's will be speaking, and maybe you guys, when it comes to public speaking time, you could comment on that. That would just be one of my concerns. It's not that I've made a decision or anything, but I want everybody to think about that when comments are made. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Should we let the people in the audience first, or?
Yeah, I wasn't planning on speaking, but I'd like to help you. All right, first of all, I think you're right. I think we need to have a development.
If we could just have you step up to the podium, that would, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So, first of all, yeah, I wasn't planning on talking, but I'm just compelled to now. I agree with you on a number of things, and thank you very much for your information. We do need to have a development there. I'm in Glenview Walk Estates, but I don't think this is the right one. That's all. And I think everyone in Glenview Walk Estates and all the surrounding feel the same way. They feel that there's going to be something there, and having commercial is great. We need it too, right? But we don't think that that should be it. We were told when we looked at the land that it has to be a custom home, okay? It has to be this size. It has to be brick, like you were all saying. Thank you, because you're exactly right. We had requirements to do that, and we felt that everything around us would have been the same. But if they had said, yes, this is what you need, but don't worry, because we're going to let other people do whatever they want around you, we wouldn't have moved there, and none of us would. That's the first thing. Second of all is the overcrowding. Putting that many people in that area, first of all, we talked about the schools. That's a big concern. Are you guys ready for that? I don't think we are, and I don't think a lot of our children are. So that's a concern. The second thing is, or the third, is the traffic. You guys did a wonderful job putting 159 in. I moved in right when it was almost finished with the construction, right during the construction. It's a beautiful road. It's the only straight road coming through. I think it's great, but it's become a drag strip. You know how it is. You've all driven through it. It's speedy. adding 300 and some other houses into it, and the children there, we need to put a stoplight there, or we need to do something else, because that's needed. And I think the access to Hiller, we've been in Glenview, Walk Estates has been financing that and taking care of it the whole time. I know we can work something out there. I'm sure you'll help and say you'll pay half or whatever, or can take care of it. But that was one of the things that we were concerned about as well. All the buses and all the cars and all the construction coming through there is a very big concern. And the value, you're right. I mean, I'm very concerned about it because I'm paying a lot of money for taxes. And, you know, these houses, you're exactly right, $650,000 to $1 million each. And putting these in next to us, I wouldn't have moved in if I saw that. So that was my concern. I know a lot of us have the same, but I just wanted to feel, you know, it's just, you know, he says these things, I appreciate it. I'm a salesman, so I say things too, like to make my point across about, values and assessments and things like that. No. People, when they drive into our town, okay, our village, and say, where am I going to live? And then they pull into this, and they don't just go into Glenwood Walk Estates or some other one. They're going to go around. I did. I went around to all the other ones, and all the other ones on 159, and I looked at those homes too. So those are just my concerns. I don't want to hold you up. Thank you. I appreciate it.
George, we are keeping with the 3 minutes, or is this full open discussion?
Is there anyone else that wants to talk?
3 minutes? Okay. Just a reminder that it is 3 minutes.
You got it.
Thank you.
I don't even think I'll take 3. That's okay. Karen Maud, I'm not in Glenview Walk. I'm in Cedar, Glen. So I'm west of Cedar Road, north of 159. Same concept, okay, but our homes were built in the 80s. Acre plus lots, all right, 300 square foot homes. Are we considering the square footage of these townhouses? Okay? 1,600 feet on the small side, about 2,000 feet on the, the larger side. Holy cow, diversity in Homer Glen. Okay, my parents bought their house, built their house in 1975 in Erin Hills on Dublin Drive. My parents are still there, 75 years old, all right? Their friends have moved into the condos behind Home Depot. Gave it a try. They can't do it, you guys. They're used to their single family homes. And why would they pay HOA? Why would they pay all those extra fees? My parents have somebody cut the grass now. My kid was doing it for a while and then he goes to college. They'll pay somebody else to cut their grass. Yes, they want to downsize, and yes, they want to stay in Homer Glen. There's a great, cute little area across from Hadley Park on Parker Road, okay? Just south of the path, the bike path, right? There's no way you're going to put my 75-year-old parents that are used to living in their single-family home on a beautiful, just under a half acre, a little over, a third of an acre lot in Erin Hills. There's no way you're going to have my parents roll the dice to have to live in a duplex, which sounds great, first floor bedroom, right? We don't want to do a lot of stairs. Maybe they'll do an end unit in a townhouse. No friggin' way. Come on. They're not going to roll the dice to have to live next to some, crazy startup family that's barely scraping to pay, please excuse me, barely $300,000 to get in a townhouse. There's no way, you guys. Come on, think, talk to the community. There's no way. You don't want to have an age requirement? Look at what those, beautiful homes are just south of Parkview Church, just south of, Denolfo's. That's a great community. I'm looking to get my parents out at Laga Vista in Lockport. All of those are incredible options. But to stack up these townhouses, just shoot right down Cedar Road. I'm pretty sure it's not Homer Glen, it's Lockport. Victoria Crossing, there's townhouses, go there, and they're not in great shape. So, let's put some more townhouses up. I don't think so. That's not what I bought in here for. Sorry.
Just for the record, we do need the residents to state their first and last name just for the records. So anybody else?
Kara, K-A-R-A, last name Maud, M-A-U-D.
I didn't catch your name.
George Nichols.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anyone that wanted to talk besides that, or anyone on Zoom?
We have one on Zoom.
Hi, my name is John Knazer. I'm the current president of the Glenview Walk Homers Association. I apologize for not being able to be there, but if you can't tell, I'm a little under the weather and have two daughters that unfortunately tested positive for COVID last week. So a lot of the points that I've shared with the trustees and the mayor and village manager, I think have been addressed. I was a little disappointed that traffic wasn't a big topic of concern tonight until George had brought it up. Right now, given the amount of traffic we do see on 159th Street, it's very difficult to turn left as it is. When you add all this, these townhomes and duplexes to this, it'll make it even that much more challenging. On Sundays, or at least before COVID, the emergency services were there to assist with Parkside Church. So that's a major concern if this would even go through. And obviously the property value discussion, everyone's got their own perspective and point of view. What I would say is, even if you want to make the comment that it won't be associated with our appraisals and whatnot, some people just don't want to look at that in their backyard. As an example, when my wife and I were looking at properties, we were looking at a few empty lots in Stonebridge. Beautiful community, very similar to ours. We specifically didn't want to choose some of those lots because they backed up to those nice townhomes. We wanted it to back up to a home similar to ours or open space. To the same token, we chose an interior lot because we didn't know what was going to go on the outside to what the trustee Fialco mentioned. And those homes on that west side of our community have, in my opinion, not helped anyone in the community because the prices have been sold, in my opinion, under market value because of the unknowns or challenges. So I try to speak for the entire community. What I can say is the only feedback I've gotten back from residents has been more concerns or not in favor for this. I've yet to see anyone speak that they would like to see this implemented, but that's what I have to say. Thanks so much for your time.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wants to before we close this up? What's the consensus?
I think it's a great project. I know George had mentioned it out in the audience. I mean, it's beautiful homes. I just think, once again, it doesn't belong in that area. It doesn't belong in that parcel. I think our village it kind of has an ebb and flow to it, just like anything else. And this is just doesn't have that ebb and flow for me. I'm thinking there's a ton of parcels out there that this could fit in. This just isn't one of them.
I agree with Trustee Pazino. I just don't think this is the right location for this type of development, in my opinion.
I felt the same way last time, so
For me, it's not necessarily the location. I like the concept of the mixed use when commercial's in the front and residential's in the back. Years ago, we looked at a project when I was on the plan committee, and it was similar to what we were saying here on 159th and Parker. It was commercial, then a little townhouses, and then single-family homes. And I can't remember who the developer was. That would be something that I could support, but this, to me, it's just too dense. If you, again, it would. Janie, do you remember, were you here then? So it was the
Gallagher and Henry.
Oh, okay, it was the Gallagher and Henry property on the northeast corner of Parker and 159th Street. And like I said, it had the commercial, and then behind the commercial was some townhomes or
condos.
And condos. And then it went into single-family homes, and that would be something that I could look at. But, you know, looking at this plan here, it's just too dense. It's not something, I know, having been in the industry, I know what this is going to cost you to just move forward. And so I'm just being honest with you, I don't think it would get to the finish line.
And I'm going to agree with the rest of the trustees. I don't think it's probably a good fit. That's what I was talking about earlier, was the buffer of the townhouses and then having residential houses beyond that. It doesn't sound like that will fit for your need, and I hate for you to keep wasting your time, which is valuable also. But I'm going to agree with the rest of the trustees. I just don't think it fits for what you're trying to accomplish.
Not in
that spot. Now, if we could find you another spot, would you be open to that? I'm sorry?
He likes their property.
I hear you loud and clear, and so we're about to wrap this up. I want to thank you, because there are two additional trustees, of course. I want to hear your opinions. But you asked me a question if I would go somewhere else. I happen to like this property for the reasons that I explained. It is, a lot of my buyers will be working along I-3, along the tollway. And I like the access, the ease of access, and the proximity to the tollway. It's far enough to be quiet and close enough so you can get to it real quickly. Okay, I suppose I'm not going to get a support tonight, even though, again, I haven't heard two trustees still admit their opinions. I'd like to hear your opinion. I hear you loud and clear. I appreciate the fact that you are being very open with me. You are saving me a ton of time and a ton of money, and thank you for that. I'll go back and think, what can I do with this property? But I like this property.
Now, we were correct. You don't own the property, right?
No.
Okay.
No. We never own properties in my industry until we get the zoning. We get the ordinance, it's all signed, sealed, and approved, and then we close.
Would we be able to help you through Janie Patch and to maybe take your same development and find a place that it would fit within Homer Glen that would kind of be just as close to 355 as yours?
I'll be open to that, but I'd be very open to that, absolutely.
All right.
And you said that you didn't hear from me, and I would just like to say that I do appreciate this project. I think it's very much needed in this community, but again, I would have to say the location next to a home that's $650,000 to $1 million, I could understand. I mean, I live in a townhome in Homer Glen. I love my townhome. I wouldn't live anywhere else, but I think that a project of this size is going to be a problem in that area.
Thank you.
Jennifer, did you have anything?
No, I think everybody's pretty much covered it. You know, it's, your design is beautiful on some of them. It's just the density and all the problems that come with it. And like I said, we have to take into consideration when people spend that kind of money, not just to purchase the home, but on their property tax. That does have to be, and I know to you, it's a, what did you say, a couple football fields away? But clearly, clearly it's not to them, and I do respect that. So thank you very much for being honest with us.
Well, and thank you very much for allowing me to come back to you. I will see what else you have to offer on other locations. I will start thinking about this property again. Maybe we'll reach a balance. Maybe you will like my next design. Maybe the neighbors will be more comfortable with my next design, and maybe staff will show me another property. I would not be opposed to doing two properties in Homer Glen.
Janie, would you be able to work with them to help out in that process? Because I would really like for you to be here.
I would like to be here too.
Old business, new business.
And I think Janie will be able to help you out in that process.
I know she will.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next thing we have is old business.
Okay.
Next we have new business.
Hold on 1 second under old business. Sorry. Let me see if I can hold off on it here.
Thank you, everyone, for coming in.
Thank you. The only thing I would like to bring up under old business is 151st Street widening. Could you give us an update on that and tell me where we're at in that process?
You're going to have to talk to Mike.
Mike?
Mike?
We're going to be putting together RFQs, request for qualifications for engineering services for Phase 2. The Phase 1 study has been completed and approved by IDOT. We did receive grant funding from the Will County Governmental League for the engineering for the Phase 2. I believe that's approximately about $425,000 that we received. So that's the next step. We're also going to be bringing to the board right-of-way acquisition, various parcels, so that'll be coming to the board in the near future as well, too.
With that 151st Street widening, there's no eminent domain that's involved in that process, is there?
No.
Okay.
I mean, ultimately, there could potentially be, but right now, we are talking to various property owners, and the property owner, or the properties, the right-of-way that we would be bringing to the board are ones that we've already been working with those properties, those property owners, and they are in agreement to sell the properties.
Do you have an approximate completion date, a goal that you're shooting for, though, for that completion?
I don't have a date at this time.
Okay. And then the other thing I was going to ask was about IWA. You said you have another meeting, correct, George?
It's this coming Monday or a week from?
24th.
24th? It's the 24th. They have a whole new crew.
Okay. And their goals are, I mean, that you're just going to get orientated at that time?
I have no idea what the goals are through.
I mean, this is one of the big questions the community does have, is the water issue. So, okay, thank you very much. That's all I have under old business.
All right. Is there any new business?
Yes, sir, I do have something. I'd like to put on the agenda for the next meeting, a motion to create a committee to work with Lockport and monies that are up in the air as far as what they claim we owe.
Actually, I wanted to see if you guys wanted to talk about it tonight. You got everyone here.
In executive?
It is
Pending
10:30.
litigation. I mean, I don't think we need to drag it out anymore. We know what they're looking for, and we know what we've offered them, so it's up to you.
Sir, we think we could negotiate something with them and perhaps bring it back to the board?
That's something we can do.
In my opinion, I don't think forming a committee could hurt. I don't know what everybody else thinks.
I didn't hear you, Dan.
Ruben's under new business. He wants to have it on the agenda for the next meeting to form a committee. I don't see how a committee could hurt. I know we can discuss it in executive session, but we could also open that up to a committee.
Now, just so you know, it's not something that's brand new. We have discussed this with Lockport already. So it's not going to take forever. It's going to be pretty swift. Of course, you, sir, will be involved. But the trustees on this end would like to represent the village. And then there will be 2 aldermen from Lockport representing Lockport. And we'll report back to the mayors accordingly for final decision.
So just be aware when you do that, when you create a committee to do something like that, you'll be subject to the open meetings act.
Absolutely, sir.
Yes.
That's why we want to put it on the next agenda.
Everybody's aware.
Yes, sir. Want to do it the right way.
Question, would we appoint members at that time, or would that be a separate?
We will come up with our recommendations at that time.
All right, let's see if we can do that as quick as possible, too, so this does stop, because this is kind of embarrassing with having Lockport knocking on our door all the time.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of emails, so.
And then also, we have Nicole's new business item as well.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. Is there anything else for new business before we go on? No? Okay, so I'm just looking for a little bit of direction here from the board. I mean, granted, I'm the village clerk. I can go ahead and do this as we have, but I just wanted to fill you guys in. Like I stated earlier, we have 521 businesses. There's currently 190 unpaid. The fees are usually due by December 31st. We had extended it to January 31st. The next step, if the village, if the businesses do not pay by January 31st, the fee doubles. So it goes from $30 to $60. In the history of Homer Glen, excluding last year because of the pandemic, we waived the business fees. What had happened was some people would pay the $30, just the basic fee, and then they would skip out on paying the late fee, and there was never any action to go after them. However, some businesses did go according to the rules and did pay the $60. Kind of seems a little unfair when you have some paying the late fee and some not. The next step, if they don't pay after February 28th, the doubled fee, or I shouldn't say double fee, but the double business reservation fee, which would be $60, it is subject to, and I can read it to you verbatim, it is right here. At this time, your business in violation, blah, 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 and then it says, any person, firm, or corporation who or which violates any provision of the article shall be subject to a fine of not less than $75 and not more than $1,000. A separate offense shall be deemed committed on each day a violation occurs or continues to occur. And the reason I'm bringing this up to you is because I know we just re-implemented the business fees and the late fees. We will get businesses that won't pay. I'm hoping we do. I hope everyone pays on time. But if we don't...
The question is what?
My question is, how would you guys like me to proceed? Would you like me to stick with these letters? Because we have never done it in the history of Homer Glen. But I would like to make sure, if I do send out these letters, are we going to follow with this?
I know that we've kept our, well, first of all, we did a couple of things. This was during the last administration. We went ahead and we changed it from a registration, which was not mandatory, to a license.
That is correct.
So just like anything else, in order to proceed with your business, you need a license. We also did not raise the fees. We kept them at $30, which I think is extremely reasonable. Once again, I think that the village has done everything it could to try to keep the businesses solvent and to keep everybody going. So I think at this point, it's time to move forward and have things go on the way they should be.
And what have we done in the past, I guess? When you've had this problem before, probably, I'm guessing this isn't the first time.
Not exactly. So in 2019, the village board changed the code to create the license, as Trustee Pazmino referenced.
Right.
So we were preparing to, and that kind of put more teeth into it for us to go after businesses that were delinquent in their fees. So we were preparing to do that. In March 2020, we had a list of outstanding businesses. 2 weeks later, everyone shut down, and we didn't feel it was appropriate at the time to go find businesses that we didn't know what was going to happen. So that's the only time that we've had a cycle that we charged money, and it was March 2020, so we did not see it through in a normal way. So this year will be the first.
Yeah, and we have given them a big break, and when we talked about it a couple years ago, it's time to add the finance charge on it, and if they don't do it, just file a lien.
I just want to make sure that's the correct steps that this board wants to take, since...
You want to maybe do another 30 days, just in case?
Well, we did actually do 30 days, because the licenses were due December 31st, and we actually extended it to January 31st without implementing the first $30 late fee.
Never mind.
So we're already still have 190 businesses that haven't paid, and out of some of the businesses that have paid in this January month, they didn't pay the $30 fee because we just said don't worry about it for right now. But what happens if in February 1st, February 28th, I believe it's only the 28th this year, some businesses will still try to pay the $30 and get away with without paying that additional fee. In years past, they've let it slide.
I pay $385 and $75 for Chamber of Commerce every single year on both my businesses.
I do agree that the business fee, license fee is a little low compared to the other towns. We did do an evaluation of all the other towns to see what they're paying, and we did discover that in the years past that it is much lower than the rest of the other towns.
I just want to make sure our communication, though, we're actually, that the message is getting to the business owner. To have that high, that amount seems a little high. I get it that we're sending the letter, but maybe that next step could be a registered letter where they have to sign for it?
Well, we actually take more steps.
Well, I don't know what the cost of that is.
Yeah, we actually take additional steps too. We also call the businesses just to say, hey, we see that you haven't paid yet. Is there a situation? Some businesses will call and say, actually, I'm closed down, and then we take them out of our list. There's a big process to it.
And the effort's been made.
Yeah, we have made the efforts, but since we haven't done it in the past, and we do implement this, I don't want, you guys to take a fall for something that was already implemented before the pandemic, but yet this is the first time we're doing it.
I think we need,
And then are we still factoring in the arrears if they didn't pay it last year?
So that, no.
No, we forgave last year.
Okay, so it's completely forgot, okay, thank you.
Last year we didn't.
Okay.
It's for this year pending right now.
Okay, so it's just this year, then, yeah, no, I'm,
Because a lot of this, and I just want to say, is, a lot of it will fall on Mr. Baber, Joe. If they get to that step where it is the $75 to $1,000, that's going to fall a lot on Ms. Joe.
sorry, Joe.
Baber, whoever. So just so you guys do know, that's where that falls, because I know there's a lot of questions. And then the next step is a lot of stuff is going to fall on the staff that's here, because if they pay the $30 and they don't pay that late fee of that additional $30, you still want staff to go after them, correct, for the $30. And I don't mean after them, but I mean you want them to still ask for it, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Because if one does it and the other one doesn't, and then...
And that's the problem we had fallen
has to
into
be
in
a
years
standard.
past. Yes.
Now, I just had one more question, because I know I brought this up last year. I know myself, you get all this mail, right, and you try to pay your bills and try to do it all online. This is one more of those one-offs where you literally either have to drop it off at the village or mail it. Is there a way to integrate this online where they could just pay it?
We had talked about this last year. We were going to start looking into implementing it, but then again, the pandemic had happened, and we just kind of said, we're going to push it off. There was a new board. There were so many things that were happening at once.
Matt, did it look like it would be a real complicated thing to do?
Well, they still, yes and no, because they
Yeah,
still
we're looking at it now. iWork, the system that we do our licenses and permits, does have the capability to do so. So we do have that ability. We just haven't implemented it to this point. But
They've recently upgraded their processes to our software vendor for the licensing, and we're going to actually schedule like next week to reevaluate that.
That might help out, guys.
It will, and that was one of the other things that was going to...
yeah, once we had the one for recreation, that was a big help for convenience for
Can you just look into that concern that I had earlier that we talked about?
Yes, I will. That was, I'm sorry, that was it for this.
All right, so you don't want to go into executive for...
Well, if we don't go into executive session, I just want to make it clear that we have been trying to go in executive session for purpose of many things, but for my purpose of executive session minutes. And I don't want that to fall far behind, because we all know what happens when these minutes fall behind.
So pick a Tuesday, start it at 5 o'clock, nothing else, nothing else.
You guys okay with that?
Well,
I think because there's so much to go through and you have to read it, that to try to do it at 10 o'clock at night is not too difficult.
And I do understand there's processes I want to explain. Obviously, there's been situations that are happening that I need to get to you guys to explain certain things so we're all on the same page.
I'm sorry, are you talking about these minutes?
Those and
a bunch more.
All these.
Oh, I thought it was just these.
I'm in agreement with the mayor. Start an early day
Well, I can
for
bring
everybody's
this up under
sake.
new business too,
Yeah,
so maybe
I
we
think
can
that's a
squash
smart
this.
choice.
So there's a set of minutes in there. If you guys look at the packet I passed out to you today, and we can get these done at least real quick. There's a big bubble that you guys will see that goes like this on that packet I passed out. Those were actually passed in,
What are we doing?
Yeah, quick question.
well, I'm bringing this up, I guess, under new business now.
Are you talking about executive session minutes now?
Yes.
Okay.
Or just so we can get this one little section off the plate that we've been trying to get accomplished. On April 28th, what?
Do you want to talk about this in open session?
This little part we can. I mean, I'm okay with that.
I trust your judgment on it.
Yeah, because this is not going to discuss anything. This is just an informative thing. This little packet that I just passed out to you guys in that little bubble form, my messy handwriting, it says needs resolution to approve. So these were actually already approved in the April 28th meeting prior your time, but we left it so you guys can understand how to do a resolution when we want to approve and or release minutes. We just never got there because so many things have been happening. So this has been on the agenda for months now, so I just want to know, are you guys okay with moving forward to allow the staff to come up with a resolution, or the attorneys to come up with a resolution for these minutes that are in this bubble? They've already been approved.
All right, let's get it done.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
they've already been approved. so
And then when we pick the Tuesday, I'll explain more of that in detail. But you've been through it, Ruben, you know about resolutions.
Not fun, no. But yeah.
No, so we do need to get this done.
So I'm sorry, somebody mentioned the date and the time.
We were talking about a Tuesday.
I just said early as possible, but on a Tuesday. So, I mean, if you want to do it at 4, if you want to do it at 5, we should be able to finish up by 6.
I can't personally make it on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
Unless it's earlier.
Like you want to do like a 2 o'clock?
Yes.
I mean, if I have enough advance notice, I can do that. I just need to leave work early.
Yeah, I can probably do it too. Let's just get the date and we'll work around it so we can get the.
Well, let's start January 18th. Does that work for everybody? That's next week, Tuesday.
No,
No, okay, January 25th?
I can tell you one second.
Would it be at all helpful if Carrie and Eric or somebody from our office got together with the clerk and just said, here's what we recommend from a legal perspective, and
We've done that with historical.
that could get resolved? I haven't been.
Oh, God, that would be big.
But there hasn't even
discussions,
been,
But I'm just trying to think of a way to shortcut it.
It's on there.
well, the minutes from, from March 21 to current haven't even been approved yet. We haven't even made it into a meeting to approve them yet. That's what I'm saying, is we keep passing it off because our meetings run so long. We haven't even, I have copies, they're drafts, again, I can pass them out and you guys can all look at them again and bring them back, but again, that's not what we usually allow. But totally up to you guys.
I can do the 25th.
I'll be gone for the next 6 weeks. Surgery. Surgery.
We'll Zoom you.
Yeah.
Again.
It's just minutes. You won't miss one.
You won't miss much, to be honest with you.
She would need the minutes to review them, right?
I have copies if you'd like.
I forget what the rules are for taking the,
Yeah, I mean, we can't wait 6 weeks. You said
No.
6 weeks. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's not proposing us to put it off. So
No.
Can you do the 25th? Dan, can you do the 25th?
I can.
Okay.
What time, and Nicole, can you do the 25th?
Yes.
And what time were we
He
thinking?
was saying 2.
2 o'clock for everybody?
That would be great.
I really appreciate this, guys.
Well, we can finish up the other ones too that have been there since.
There's quite a few.
All the ones that we did before, let's just.
You should need more than 2 hours, right?
2 hours, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sold American.
That's the day after my surgery. I don't know if I'll be alive at that time.
Okay, so do we have a motion to adjourn?
Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
I'm voting aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Crap, it's 10:30.
I have other things, but I guess it was
You're doing a good job.
Goodbye.
Are you open right now or no?
I thought we were going to be able to wish you